Hello, everyone. Uh, I usually start a few minutes earlier than this. I'm got a little bit of a late start today. I am not at my usual setup. I'm actually on the road today. So it would be great if there's any technical issues that I haven't foreseen. Please let me know about them. And obviously, I look like I am very harshly lit, as I can see here, and that was not by design. But that is what we are working with today. While I'm on the road, I'm not at home. But welcome in. It is 1 o'clock Eastern time here. I'm actually in Eastern time today. Usually, I broadcast this from a different time zone, but call out Eastern time. So welcome into office hours if you are here. I'm going to wait, but right now we do seem to be having some technical issues. So um, yes, I am having all sorts of technical issues, and I'm not sure really why. So here we go. We're going to give this a try. I will continue to attempt to make this work and apologize again if this doesn't work out right. So let me, I do not see any live questions here today yet. So I'm going to go through a couple of the questions that we received earlier, a couple of the questions that people pre-submitted, and I'll cover those. And then I will be back with a less technical difficulties office hours next week when I am back home. And I have all my monitors and all my cameras and all my lighting and all of the usual accoutrements I am used to doing. So again, please let me know if you personally are having any technical issues along the way with the live stream. Otherwise, I am going to get rolling. So we had pre-submitted questions here today. I have installed GMass, but I have, I'm going to put, I will paste this in the chat. I will paste the questions in the chat as I do them. This one goes, I have installed GMass, but I have no clue how to use it. So I naturally assume that means clue how to use it. And I understand, we try our best at GMass to walk you through it. When you start GMass, it takes you to a tutorial that sort of walks you through the process of sending your first campaign. We send you emails, but I know that still a lot of people, for whatever reason, they see it's installed something in Gmail, but they're not quite sure what to do. So we do have a few very helpful guides and other ways to help you out. So the first one I would like to show you is our Quick Start Guide. So our Quick Start Guide is really handy, and I recommend this to everyone whenever I can. Basically, with the Quick Start Guide, what we are doing, and yeah, there's a little more lag in the video. All right, it looks like it's working again. With the Quick Start Guide, this is just a really simple way that's going to walk you through installing the GMass Chrome extension and sending a test campaign. It's going to show you how to connect a Google Sheet of contacts, which is really primarily the way that you're going to get most of your contacts into Gmail and GMass campaigns. It's then going to show you all the process of this. I'm walking you through step by step with screenshots here, how to connect to the spreadsheet, what all this means, then how to send a test campaign, how to use mail merge. So the first place I always recommend people go is the Quick Start Guide. If you go through the Quick Start Guide, it'll take you, 5 to 10 minutes. And when you're done with that, you will understand conceptually, at least, how to use GMass. And then from there, the Quick Start Guide at the very end of it, when we get here, after you've sent a campaign, we show you how to look into analytics. Then we recommend other links. So then I have links to all sorts of other things down here that you can do. And I've starred some of the most important ones to really help you really get to know GMass. See, we're covering automations, auto follow-up sequences here, how to manage your replies, deliverability, which I know is a huge question on pretty much everyone's mind of how do we make our campaigns get delivered. Talk about breaking Gmail sending limits, which is another huge topic that comes up a lot with GMass users. So really, we are covering all the possible GMass topics here. I'm linking you out. You can go to any of these articles, any of this documentation, and learn how to use different features of GMass. And hopefully you find all this really helpful here. Other than that, I would say keep an eye on your inbox after you sign up for GMass. We've very, very carefully curated which emails go out. Whether you've signed up for your free trial, we're going to send you a certain series of emails that are just helping to really get let you get to know the product. And once you get a paid membership to GMass, a paid subscription, then you'll also get messages there, including you'll get one from us basically saying, what are you trying to do? And our support team, or even sometimes our CEO, AJ, or I will hop in ourselves and really help you out. So we're really looking to make sure that everyone gets the most out of GMass. It's a simple program, but it's also very robust. Like, it's simple in that it works right inside Gmail. We've tried to make it so it just sort of slides right in and smoothly integrates into your email sending workflow. However, uh, there's all sorts of nuances here and there, and so many different things you can do with it. Often, people will request new features from GMass, and it's stuff that already exists. And we don't fault anyone for this, but there's just so much to it, and it can really do a lot. But the best place to get started is absolutely just go to this quick start guide. We get a lot of people looking at this quick start guide, and I know it's helping, thousands of people pretty much every day. So that was where I would get started if you don't know how to use GMass. And again, welcome to everyone who's joined office hours. My name is Sam. I do these office hours. Usually I do them weekly. We're on a bit of a hiatus because I've been traveling a bit, so, U.S. summer travel style, although I've been all over the world. Right now I'm not at my usual house in California. I'm actually at my parents' house in Ohio, broadcasting from, yes, my childhood bedroom. So that is where I'm coming from you today. And the lighting here is less than ideal, which is why I have a horrible shadow behind me. But that is what I'm doing today. I will be back home for next week's office hours. So if you do have a question, please drop it in the chat. If you don't, that's okay. You just want to listen, you just want to learn, that's cool. I'm just going to go through some of the questions that people who RSVP'd pre-submitted, and I just covered the first one, which was very sort of a broad overview of getting started with GMass, and now I will get into the next one. So let us copy our next question that we received from an RSVP, and it has a few questions in it. So when sending an email using GMass, do we use Gmail SMTP or your own SMTP? Do we need to pay for additional SMTP? How many emails can we send per day? Will that affect our domain too? Okay, so that's really 4 questions. I'm going to break them all down individually. So ideally, when you're sending, you're going to send through Gmail servers. One of the just built-in inherent advantages in GMass and in sending campaigns through Gmail is that Gmail servers are super high deliverability because they're Gmail. And nobody out there is banning emails from Gmail. Now, it's not a guarantee. It's not like, oh, as long as you're sending through Gmail, everything you send will always go to the inbox, not the spam folder, and that will never change. No, that's not the case. However, yes, if you're sending, you're going to want to be sending through Gmail. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. And one of them is if you hit Gmail's limits. So Gmail sets daily sending limits. If you're using a free gmail.com account, your sending limit from them is going to be up to 500 emails in a 24-hour period. And I say up to because they have black box algorithmically determined how many emails you can send. And it often is not exactly 500. It may be less. And if you're using a paid Google Workspace account, same deal, except there the maximum capacity is 2,000 emails in a 24-hour period. So let's say you want to send more than that. So that's where the rest of this person's questions come in. One of the most common ways that people use GMass to break Gmail's limits is by connecting a third-party SMTP server. Now, you could use your own in-house one you've built, or you can use one of the popular SMTP services. You know the names: SendGrid, Django Mail, Django SMTP, Mailgun, Amazon SES. There are very many common. There are plenty of options, and with those, you can connect one of those to your GMass account, and you would do that here in the GMass dashboard. And you can connect one of these. For instance, here I'm using our in-house SMTP server, which is our GMass SMTP server. But you could connect, as you could see, you could connect SendGrid, Mailgun, SMTP2Go, Sendablu, Django, etc., etc. And then what you can do in GMass is you can instruct it with its Gmail limits. When you hit Gmail's limits in a campaign, you can tell it what to do. And one of the options is reroute to your SMTP server. So in those cases, yes, you can then reroute to your SMTP server. And is there an addition? Do you have to pay for an additional SMTP? Well, if you're signing up for one of these services, then yes, you'll have to pay that service's cost. Those are generally high volume services, so they have some costs associated with them. Also, GMass does have a small SMTP usage charge just because of the extra strain and extra taxation it puts on our server. So I think it's something like $4 for every 10,000 emails. It's a nominal charge, basically, if you're setting super high volume campaigns. Uh, Something that you saw here, though, is that I was using GMass's SMTP server. So we have our own in-house SMTP server. And we do take applications for people to use that. And you can apply to use that if you are sending opt-in emails. If that is to say, if you're not sending cold outreach to lists that you've purchased or you've compiled cold, but you're actually sending to, like, say, an opt-in newsletter, you can use our SMTP server. So that would not have any additional charge, in terms of an SMTP server payment, like if you sign up for SendGrid. However, it still would carry that extra $4 per 10,000 emails charge that we do, just because these high volume campaigns put a lot of extra work into the server, so we just charge a little bit. However, almost no one hits those thresholds. So that is how you use a third-party SMTP server. And what would happen is you would send your campaign, and GMass will send the first 500, however many, through Gmail's server. And then once GMass detects that it started bouncing you because you've hit your limit, then it will switch and send the rest of your campaign through the SMTP server, which you've specified. And how many emails can you send per day? Well, that's the third part of this person's question. So, I mean, really, it's essentially unlimited. You can just send and send through an SMTP server, and you can just send away. And so, really, you could, we have people who send campaigns of even up to, we've seen 100,000 in a day, even more sometimes. So, super high volume. But of course, you do run spam risk, especially if this is cold email. If you're sending 100,000 cold emails in a day, I suspect your list isn't super targeted and that your emails aren't super personalized. So you may, in fact, run into the risk of getting marked as spam there. So just be careful. And will it affect our domain? Well, it can affect your domain if there's the concept in cold email of burning a domain, which is when you've gotten too many spam complaints, you've hit you're on everybody's radar, you're on blacklists, whatever it may be, and your domain really just is kind of trashed and can't send. So one of the things, so I'm going to now put a bow on all of this with a recommendation, and that is a product that we have within GMass called Multi-Send. So let me pull up GMass Multi-Send. With Multi-Send uses inbox rotation. And inbox rotation is where, rather than sending, say, 10,000 emails through one email address, GMass will distribute your campaign across multiple email addresses that you've connected. So that way, let's say you want to send those 10,000 emails in a day. Rather than sending 10,000 through, some will go through Gmail, the rest will go through your SMTP server, with Multi-Send, you could connect 50 Gmail or Google Workspace accounts. And then each of those, instead, GMass would send 200 emails through each of those in your day. So that is still taking you to 10,000 emails sent. However, you're only sending 200 per account instead of 10,000 with one account. And by doing that, it distributes the risk in addition to distributing the campaign, because now you're sending much smaller volumes from each domain. Excuse me, I sneezed. Oh, excuse me. Wow, I've never sneezed on one of these before. That is gross. Sorry. And I even said sorry like I'm Canadian, because I feel that bad that I had to apologize Canadian style. Excuse me. So that is why I would recommend, if you're sending these big campaigns, multi-send inbox rotation has become extraordinarily popular. This has become a very common use now amongst higher volume cold emailers and senders, just because we find it's a lot easier on many levels to send through all these different accounts rather than just using one sending account. Using lots of sending accounts it does have a significant series of advantages to it. So I would recommend that. So I hope that answers your question. All right, let us grab a couple of other questions. If I still don't have any here live, let me see. Yes. We had, can I possibly send out GMass from my home computer versus my office? Yes, you can. So GMass does not work only on one browser or only on one computer. GMass can work anywhere that you are logged into your Gmail account or Google Workspace account. So let's say you wanted to set up on your home computer with your, just go to Chrome and go log in with your email account, whether it's your personal or your work email account, whatever Gmail, Google Workspace account you have. Install the Chrome extension there, and connect it there. And GMass will know that this is through an account that's already paid, and you can just continue to use it seamlessly like that in your from any computer, really, where you log in. So I know I use GMass from the same account on multiple computers. Many people do. So yes, that is a really easy one. There are no computer-based restrictions. So yes, you can absolutely do that. Let's see. Welcome everyone. Also, I've seen people coming and going a bit. Welcome in, and please wrap questions if you have them. Since I'm not getting live questions, I'll probably only go another about 15 minutes. But if I do start getting live questions, I can go up to a full hour on this office hours. But when I don't get live questions and I get very lonely and I'm just answering questions that people submitted on a spreadsheet, I know people are watching me answer them, but then I tend to wrap it up a little early. So let's see. Where is this? Some of these. Opt-in. Okay. Okay. Just looking. Here we go. This person said, just looking for a broader overview of what else I can do with this. It's a fair point. So, GMass is a very versatile piece of email software. Whereas you may have used email service provider that did opt-in newsletters or like MailChimp. Or you might have had one connected to an e-commerce store to do e-commerce automations like Klaviyo. Or you may use a cold one that's just really oriented around cold outreach. We have some of GMass's cold outreach competitors out there. These are all optional. These are all options within GMass, because those are all single things that other software can do. But the way that GMass is set up, you can really do a lot of different things. So here's what I would say for a broader overview of what else you can use GMass for is, one, I would recommend using GMass for every email you send. And I know that sounds crazy, but what we've done, as you've seen when you've used GMass, is we have a new sending button right here. We have the red GMass button next to the send button. And you can send any email to, if there's someone in the to field, you don't just have to connect to Google Sheet by pressing the GMass button. When you do, then GMass is going to add mail tracking to your email, so you can detect reply, open, clicks. GMass, it's going to be in the GMass system, so you can reuse it as a template. If you wanted to, you could set up auto follow-ups. So let's say let's say you're reaching out to someone because you want to get a job. And so you email a hiring manager at a company, and you would just you're sending them a single email. So you put them in the to field, hiring manager at jones.org. And you've said your piece. Wait, is that a real email address? I guess that's a real email address? I don't know. Never heard of jones.org or their hiring manager. I was just spewing. And you sent them the email, and you wrote them an email, a nice personalized email, not this. Then you could set up auto follow-ups to go out to them. Like if you don't hear back from them in 3 days, say, hi, not to bug, whatever niceties we all feel compelled to use in these situations, and then please let me know. And then you could do that. You'll get mail tracking again on this, and then you could reuse this template too, because after every email campaign you send with GMass becomes a template you can reuse. So you could reuse this when you're applying, or reaching out to another hiring manager. So I would say one way you can get one thing for your broader overview of what you get out of GMass is think of it as your tool for sending all emails, not just specific email campaigns. And because it's right here in Gmail, it's easy to do that. I know that all of us internally now, we're so deep in GMass that when we send our emails, we send them by hitting the GMass button, because there's really no reason not to. It still works just like sending a regular Gmail. It's still in your sent folder. It looks 100% the same to the recipient, but you are now getting all of the tracking and feature benefits that you get from GMass. So that's one way to look at it. Another way is, let's say you signed up for one of the disciplines, right? Let's say you signed up to do cold outreach. think of other ways, other types of emails you send. For instance, maybe you send a newsletter internally at your organization. GMass could be great for that by putting all those people in a spreadsheet and sending it out like that so everyone's getting their own individual one. You could personalize that with mail merge. Say, again, back to the job thing. Let's say you're hiring someone. GMass works great during the hiring process when you can, send out. So you need to send mass yet personal messages to people, like to candidates who are hiring for who have applied for a job. And maybe that's sort of the broader summary. When you're doing something that could benefit from sending mass emails, but you want them a little bit personalized. Cases where you might copy and paste the same email template over and over and over and over to send individual emails. Like those are all cases where you can use GMass. And finally, I would say another great time you can use GMass is just anytime you want mail tracking involved. There are separate applications you can buy to do mail tracking, but you don't have to. GMass does all of the robust tracking right there just by hitting the GMass button. So then you can see opens, you could see replies, you could see unsubscribe, well, you probably wouldn't unsubscribe to an individual, but you could see unsubscribes, bounces. You could see when people opened them, how many times people clicked, what links they clicked on. All of this is just built right into GMass. So you can really see a wide and robust variety of things just by sending through GMass. So that's how, if I were to pick like the ideal usage for GMass, it's thinking of it not just for email campaigns, but as a holistic transformation of your email system. And then I think you'll get a lot out of it if you think of it that way, and you just start using GMass in your day-to-day regular emailing. All right, let's grab another couple questions here. Let's see. Okay, we have a question on how to qualify to use the GMass SMTP server. So right, earlier, you may have heard me, if you were here earlier, you may have heard me talk about GMass's SMTP server, which is our own in-house server that people can use to send their messages. So to use, let me pull it up, GMass in-house SMTP. Thanks, AI. I guess I could have just gone to there, but so GMass's own SMTP server, you can go to the application here, and you saw it there when I Googled it. But basically, what you're going to want to do is fill out this form, and you give us your email address. We need to know how you gathered your email addresses because, again, to be eligible, you need to be sending opt-in emails where people have explicitly said they want to receive messages from you. Tell us what kind of emails you're going to send, how many people you're going to send the average mailing to, and how frequently you'll be sending. And we hand review these. These do not go through a computer. We hand review. And if all your answers, make sense, you will usually give you a shot on the SMTP server. Of course, if you start using it for cold outreach or start causing trouble, then you won't be able to use it anymore. But that is how you apply. So you can see it here, gmass.co/support/apply SMTP. And that's how you can apply to use our in-house SMTP server. All right, so let's do this question. A couple more moments on this. Yes, there we go. How accurate is the click rate monitor? How can we improve call to action if our emails are being opened? So our click rate is accurate if you are using click tracking in your campaigns. So that means in here in the settings, you've made sure that click tracking is on. And something that I've covered in a few office hours, but I think bears repeating, you have to make sure that you are using trackable links. So this link is not trackable, even if it's a link and not just a URL. That link is not trackable because the way that tracking works is tracking rewrites the URL. So rather than when someone clicks on this, it going directly to Yahoo, it goes through the tracking, it goes to a special URL that records it's been clicked and then redirects to Yahoo. That's how every click tracker out there works for every email service. However, we cannot do that if you put a plain URL right here. And that's because Google will not let us rewrite this, because if you write yahoo.com, it needs to go directly to yahoo.com. or else it looks like you're sending spam or phishing. You're trying to trick people into clicking a link that says one thing but goes somewhere else. So this would be trackable. If we do Yahoo, if we've hyperlinked text, now this is trackable, because now this isn't showing a URL, so it's not trying to it doesn't look like it might be trying to trick someone into clicking something it's not. So that is very important for click tracking. It's something that not a lot of people know. I run into this quite a bit. I've covered this in previous office hours, as I said. I've run into this myself. So please make sure, if you want click tracking, that you're using this kind of URL, not typing in the URLs themselves, but rather you are hyperlinking text, which we can then rewrite and track the clicks on that text. Very important. And then the click tracking links will record, and here in your dashboard, you can see clicks on a campaign. Obviously, these are all fake campaigns, so they don't have any. Or then in the web-based report here on GMass, you can also see clicks. And of course, as you may know, if you open it up and you dig in, you can actually, this would be better with data, but it will show you each URL, how many times people clicked it. Then it will show you each individual sender, each individual email address, and what URL they clicked. So you have very accurate click tracking here. How can we improve our call to action if our emails are being opened? That's sort of a theory question as well, but I mean, you can improve your call to action by, and this is sort of philosophy type stuff, but you can improve your call to action in an email by making sure that it's enticing and that it matches the offer. So what I would say is give a good offer and then give people something pretty easy to do as their call to action. You don't want to make it sound like you're giving them work or homework. You don't want to be too presumptuous, but you have to be somewhat presumptuous. For instance, there's a big debate about calls to action of whether you should do something really mild, like interested in hearing more as your call to action, versus like ready to book a call, let's do it. Tell me what time you're available for a call. I personally prefer the latter. I think that it's hard enough to get people to respond, and I get the concept of trying to start a dialogue, making things feel non-committal, but I also feel like nobody's dumb. And everyone knows if you respond to an email, that's where it's leading. And so aren't we just kind of wasting time? If you've done really good personalized offers, then I like to jump right into a more direct call to action. I wouldn't say how's Tuesday at 9 a.m.? Some people will do that. I don't go that far, but want to hear more? Let me know and we'll set up a time to talk or something like that. But again, you have to earn that call to action, and you earn that with strong copywriting, with a really good offer, with a personalized and tailored offer, and that's how you can really earn that. Oh, I have a live question. Great. From Business Software Solutions. I have a campaign for 50 people. After a few days, I want 2 people from the list to send reminders emails. So could you clarify just, so you have 50 people, a few days you want, did you only want to send reminders to 2 people from the list? I'm going to cover a few different scenarios for this actually. Okay, so say you're set to campaign, and now a few days later you want to send to some people. So there is of course the auto follow-ups option, where you can set up auto follow-ups that will go out to people who have met certain criteria. There's another thing. For instance, if it's just 2 people from the list, then what you could want to send only to 48 people from the list. Okay, so what I would do then is I would set up another campaign, and I would remove those people. So what you could do then is reconnect the spreadsheet, start a new campaign. So reconnect the spreadsheet of your 50 people, and then so it'll bring all 50 in. But then in the campaign, here's what we'll do. Down here in the advanced section, we have something called suppression lists. Oh, sorry, I'm running over. Down here, we have something called suppression lists. So that's where you say who not to send to. So since there's 2 people you don't want to send to, in this case, you could say, I don't want to send to, and actually paste their emails in here. And then, and that way, when you send out this new campaign, it will go to everyone except for those 2 people. So that's a good way to just, if you just want to remove a couple of people from your campaign. Um, if you want this to go out, also, if it's a follow-up campaign, you want to send it as replies to the previous campaign, you could do that here too, for instance. So now we've removed those two people. Then how about here in the send as section, we click on replies. So let's send it. We can send it we can choose a campaign. So let's say you could choose the previous campaign. You could choose that one. And then this will go out as a reply to that previous campaign to all of those people. So that's a way that you could just sort of make it like adding a new campaign, but it all go out as replies to the previous campaign. And with suppression lists, we've removed these two people from your list who you don't want it to go to. So that is a good way to remove just a small number of people from a campaign after you've connected a spreadsheet. Another thing that you could do here is, let's say you sent a campaign and you want to send a new message to everyone who replied to that, or let's say everyone who didn't open that campaign. This little button right here is for GMass's segmented campaigns. And so what you could do here is you pick your past campaign. Let's say it was this one. And then you can choose, all right, I want to send to everyone who didn't open. But you can see the other options. You could send to everyone who clicked on a different previous campaign, everyone who opened but didn't click, replied, didn't reply, opened but didn't reply. You can do all of those things here. Not Gmail API errors, but didn't open. And then compose follow-up, GMass will automatically generate a new list for you based on your Google Sheet of contacts or your previous, of everybody in the previous campaign who meets these criteria. And you can still use mail merge based on your original Google Sheet, but this is a good way to send a follow-up campaign to a bunch of people. Like, let's say if you wanted to send a reminder, like sometimes for these office hours, for instance, there are people who I want to send to. So I'll send everybody who clicked on the office hours email, I'll send them a new campaign. You're saying, yes, can I remove people from Google Sheets? Sure, you can take someone off a Google Sheet. However, if you've already initiated the campaign with that Google Sheet, they will still get the campaign and the follow-ups. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So basically, like, let's say you have a Google Sheet with 50 people. You connect it to a new GMass campaign. It has auto follow-ups or it doesn't. You send that campaign. That's going to go out to all 50 of those people. Even if you rush in and delete 2 of the people from your Google Sheet, it's still going to go out to them, and the auto follow-ups would as well. That's why suppression lists are important. However, for a new campaign, if you remove those 2 people and connect the Google Sheet, now it won't. Because as you see, so let's connect a sheet and see sort of the process mindset of what I'm talking about here. So let's connect to Google Sheet. I have this test group here. Okay, so I'm going to connect to this Google Sheet. It only had one recipient. Let me find a Google Sheet that has more recipients so I can better demonstrate this point. So I have this demo sample group is good. Okay, demo sample group has 60 minutes. All right, so let's do that. So let's connect to that Google Sheet instead. So let's connect to demo sample group. Okay, so I've connected to this sheet. Here's what happened. 6 recipients connected. At this moment, GMass has now turned all 6 of those recipients into this alias. So they're in this campaign. So even if I now went to this spreadsheet and I deleted these 2 before I even sent this, GMass still go to them, unless I added them to the suppression list for this campaign. And now I can add them to the suppression list here. I could add like this one to the suppression list, and then GMass would send this, but that person wouldn't get it. However, that's for this campaign. If you're sending a new campaign, now let's say I get rid of 2 people here. Right, so now we're down to only 4 email addresses. So now let me connect a new campaign. Let me connect this to a new campaign. And you'll see that now only 4 people are getting it. So those 4 are locked in. So yes, now I can alter it it's on a per campaign basis. But once GMass makes this alias, those people are in that campaign, unless you use suppression lists to specifically remove them from it. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps with what you're trying to do. It hopefully won't be too complicated, and that you'll be able to remove those people as you need from your campaign. All right, anybody with any other questions today? I am going to stay here for another minute, and we will see if I get any other questions in. But otherwise, we're going to wrap up office hours and hope everyone's doing well. Oh, we have more questions. This is great. I was afraid I was just going to talk to myself, but I love talking with other people. All right. How do I single out the unopens from a previous campaign? So, yeah. So what you could do is you can go to a campaign, and first of all, I'm going to show you two things. One, I will show you how you can actually see who opened and who didn't open, and two, I'll show you how to build one of those new campaigns based on people who didn't open. So if we go to the GMass dashboard, let's find a campaign that had a number of recipients. The previous campaigns. Let's see one that had a number of recipients. Okay, let's go to this ready to talk. Here's a report for a campaign. I can see I had an open rate of 4. So I can go over here. I can see who the 4 were that opened it. So what you could do is you can compare this list of the people who opened it to your recipient list, and you can see who didn't open it. So you can do that in you can download your opens as a CSV, as an Excel file, or Google Sheet. Then you can bring them into your spreadsheet program of choice and compare and see who didn't open. But in terms of inside of GMass, let's say you wanted to, 4 people opened that campaign, which was called Ready to Talk. Let's say we want to send a campaign to everyone who didn't open it. That's, again, this button right here in the GMass is added to the interface. And I want to go to Ready to Talk, 10 emails. And now I can choose here. So I chose that campaign. I'm going to choose didn't open. And we know 6 people didn't open it, right? We know one of them had 4. So either 6 or 3 didn't open it. I called 2 campaigns the same thing. That was in my testing. So yes, this was the one. So I create a new campaign, and this is going to go to the 6 people who we know didn't open the previous campaign. So that's how you can send what we call segmented campaigns based on how recipients behaved around your previous campaign. So that's how we do it. And using this, we can then send this brand new campaign to these people. But the mail merge tags from the original will still work. It was a basic spreadsheet, so it only had email address and first name, but you can still use the same mail merge tags from the Google Sheet in this new campaign. So that is how you can find the unopens of a previous campaign. You can look at them yourselves in your campaign reporting, and you can find who opened, and then comparing to recipients who didn't open, and then GMass can automatically create these new campaigns you can do, in this case, around sending a campaign only to people who didn't open the previous campaign. No, I hope that helps. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad that helps. Please let me know if you have any other questions. This whole concept of these segmented campaigns based on previous campaigns is really powerful, but it's something that is not used that much because people just haven't sort of wrapped their heads around it conceptually, but this is a really valuable tool. So one that I really love the opened but didn't reply. That one feels very interesting to me because if someone opened your email but didn't reply, so that means something about it caught their eye. Something in the subject line, something about you as a sender, whatever it may be, caught their eye. But the copy in there, for whatever reason, did not compel them to then reply and take the action you want. So that's actually really good information, because that means that you have some interest from them. So this gives you a chance. Now, if we do the people who opened it and reply, we can try another approach to reaching out to them. We can try to hit different sales objections. For instance, let's say you focused on you didn't have a set call to action, a really good sense of urgency. Maybe you could do another campaign giving them more of a sense of urgency to do it, and that will compel them to reply. Or maybe the price, they just looked at the price and they didn't find it that they were getting enough value from it. You could try offering a discount in this. Whatever it may be, you can try to hit different sales objections to these people who they're not so cold anymore, right? You did cold outreach to them, but they opened it. So they have at least a modicum of familiarity with you and with the offer and with what you're presenting. And now, you have them. It's not a fish who's on the hook that you're reeling in, but it's a fish who's sniffing around your bait. And you can try doing different bait now. So this is really powerful and can be really valuable, especially for conscientious and really cold emailers or other people who are sending sales emails. This is a really good opportunity, and it's not oversaturated. because not that many people do this. A lot of people will take the path of least resistance, and they're just doing the sort of spray and pray. And this is a chance to do that. So yes, thanks, Shine. Shine, who's our deliverability expert, chimed in. There's a download addresses option in the black box bottom left corner too when you create the manual follow-up. That's right. So what Shine's saying is when you create the manual follow-up, yes, if you wanted to see unopens without doing the comparison method that I had mentioned, what Shine's saying is you can go over here to didn't open, compose your follow-up, and then as you see here, you can download the addresses. So that way, what Shine is saying is now you've downloaded all 6 recipients who didn't open. So if you wanted to do it without doing the comparison within your own spreadsheet, you can do it that way. So good call, Shine. That's helpful. So that's another way to get all the people who didn't open your campaign. All right. Any other questions while we are here and rolling? Anyone else? I am wide open. So, all right. There we go. Yes. Puvendran, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm awful. But is blocked means the email landed in spam. How does that tag work from the recipient POV? So blocked does not necessarily mean it wound up in spam. In fact, I don't think blocked at all means it wound up in spam. So let's talk about blocked emails for a second. Okay, so sometimes there are various reasons that campaigns get blocked. I'm trying to find the one that I recently wrote. Yes, here's what I was looking for. Common reasons why Gmail blocks a message, right? So you've hit your sending limit. It could be you've hit a spam trap. It could be a formatting issue. It could be an authentication issue. It could be something, an insecure connection. See, there are all sorts of reasons why things can get blocked. So that is, so blocks are not necessarily, it's not a hard bounce, right? It's not, it can be, but it's not usually a hard bounce. And GMass will try to resend your email. It will try to resend your email when you have had something blocked. So blocks are different than bounces, and blocks are different than unsubscribes. Blocks are sort of this limbo period. Often, by sending, by just trying again, the email will go through. But we show you the blocks here, so you can see if someone was blocked. It may behoove you. You may then look at them and say, I want to remove that email address. You could see maybe it was an improperly formatted email address, or you see a mistake in it. Otherwise, GMass will try to resend. Although we do have, So Shai is saying blocks are right, soft bounces, right, where something for some reason the email got rejected, and GMass will continue to try to resend it. And I think we have something in here, and I haven't dealt with this in a minute. Yes, we have the treat blocks as bounces, basically. Or we do. This is a recent feature we added, so that's why I'm not off the top familiar with it. It's seconded, but what this, if you were to check this box, treat blocks as bounces. That means if it was blocked, you don't want GMass to try to resend to it. Instead, if an email is blocked for whatever reason, you don't want to risk it. You don't want to mess with it anymore. And GMass will just treat it as a bounce, edit your bounce list, and stop sending to that email address now and in the future. But otherwise, the behavior is, oh, I'm frozen. Oh, yes, I am. You're right. Thank you. Technical, I knew it was going to be that kind of day. I really did. Let me fix the screen. And yes, so, excuse me. Let me fix this. Sorry, everyone. Fix the screen. Okay, there's my fixing the screen thing. And now we will go back to the browser. Okay, so hopefully this is working now. And what I was showing here is that here in the GMass settings, in the dashboard, we have a treat blocks as bounces option. And if you check that box, then GMass will treat your blocks rather than resending to those blocked email addresses, which are soft bounces. GMass will just add those email addresses to your bounce list. We'll stop sending to those for this campaign and stop sending them in future campaigns. However, in general, as I said, in most, I don't want to say in most cases, but I would say that often with soft bounces, there are things that can be fixed. And if there is a problem that can be fixed at either end, often by resending, GMass will be able to get the email through. So that's blocks. They differ from bounces, and from the recipients. I am not sure if they even know any of this is happening. My guess is that they wouldn't, and that it's bouncing without their knowledge, and then it would come when it comes through. It would not indicate that there was any bounce that happens. No, no problem. Glad to help. All right. Any more questions here today? I am happy to answer whatever we've got. It's been a few weeks, so I have all this energy, uh, even though I'm jet lagged, so less energy. So it's like an even amount of energy. Uh, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap up. But thanks, everyone. We'll be back next week. I hope you got a lot out of this, and I hope you, if you have any other GMass questions, you can go ahead and reach out to us, reach out to the support team, reach out to us on social media, wherever it may be, and we'll be happy to help. And you can always come back here next week if you have more questions, and I'll be happy to help you then. All right. Everyone, have a great day.